How does the most sampled song sound like? This is the sample that got used in over 6,000 songs, making it the most used sample in music long history. Going from rap pioneer artists such as N.W.A. to current mainstream artists such as Tyler the Creator and Mr. 2013 Skrillex. However, there's one important thing that I didn't tell you. This is not the correct snippet. Whilst the song I just played you was the correct song, it wasn't the part that has been sampled the most in the music industry. This is. This 6-second loop of a drum break has been sampled in many mainstream artists' songs such as Tyler the Creator's Pigs and N.W.A. Straight Out of Compton. And during literally the worst years of humanity's existence since the creation of Twitter became the most sampled piece of music in 2020. But out of all possible samples, what makes this one so unique? You see, sampling is an incredibly common thing in the music scene, especially the industry which all old British white people seem to compare to rock and roll. That is the hip-hop scene.
Maybe this is the future of rock and roll.
But here's where the story starts to get really interesting. Sampling is incredible. Here's Piggy sampling literally 2 letters and making a beat from it. And here's Deckriff sampling a literal printer. It just has no limits. But if that's the case, then why did everyone love and sample this specific drum loop? You see, to understand why the song got sampled this many times, we have to first understand the background and backstory of the song first. This song, titled Amen Brother, made by the band of the Winstons, was released all the way back in 1969, nice, almost 54 years from now. The same year when Neil Armstrong became the very first man to step foot on the moon, alongside an explosion that killed 27 and injured 300. I'm not gonna get into the small parts because who the f cares, bro? But I will ask you this one simple question. When was hip-hop starting to grow? In the very late 70s, hip-hop was starting to form its way into the music industry, and it was growing like crazy. Millions of legendary rappers such as Eazy-E, Tupac, and N.W.A. began to come out the streets and to start doing what they do best, rapping. Well, some forgot the second P, but in order to do rap, you first have to have a beat. Lots of DJs and producers started sampling various tracks, one of which being the famous sample La Di Da Di.
We go a little something like this.
That is such a cool sample. But alongside it was this track's drum break, which would eventually get the famous nickname of being known as the Amen break. Now, I know what you're thinking. If the track had gotten sampled for more over than 6,000 times, then surely the band became rich just by the amount of royalties they had gotten. Right? As unbelievable as you may find it, the amount of money the band had actually made from royalties was approximately almost zero. Richard Spencer, the lead vocalist of the band, has stated that the band had gotten absolutely no royalties for the used samples that they have created and owned. And what's even more unbelievable is the fact that he only found out about the samples usage when it was 1996 from a British record label. How awful is it that you find out that your work has not only been ruined by 100 gecs, but was also used in so many other songs over 27 years after the song's release? And if you think that it can't get any worse, then oh boy are you wrong. Because once I'm about to tell you what had happened to the very man that made that drum break, you will feel absolutely furious. Gregory Coleman, the drummer of the band which had created the famous drum break, was living in absolute misery. Besides the sales of the Winstons albums, Gregory wasn't making any money and was living in absolute poverty until when the West got West, also became homeless. The amount of money Gregory could have made from royalties would have definitely been way more than enough to be able to get by and live a comfortable life. But sadly, that wasn't the case. And after as long as a man could suffer, the legend died aging 62, living homeless and in poverty. But it wouldn't be a Moslick video if the ending wouldn't end on a somewhat happy ending. All the way back in 2015, people started to notice just how unfair the music industry was to the band and decided to take matters into their own hands. Two British DJs, Martin Webster and Steve Theobald, had created a GoFundMe in hopes of raising money for the lead vocalist Richard Spencer. The initial goal that they had set was to reach £1,000, but we all know that they surpassed that shit easily. And after March came, the GoFundMe had raised £24,500 of donated cash to Richard. £24,000 is a lot of money, but the fact that it's in British money is killing me. Obviously, getting the money over to Richard through banks was probably a huge headache.
Bella Delphine.
But holy shit! Almost $30,000 had been rewarded to the man that had suffered and gone through so much. I mean, you can buy a lot of things with that. That could be over 530 monthly subscriptions to Tate's Matrix-breaking pill Discord server, or a broken Halo from Grinding Jet. But either way, the man had gotten rewarded for his struggles, and it was all thanks to the fans. And after having seen a peaceful ending, Richard had passed away, aging 78 years old. Man, how do we go from a sample to a full sad story? But once you have found out about the most used sample in music history, there's still one huge question left. How the f did 50 Cent make over $100 million selling water? Well, you can find that out by clicking this video on the screen and by subscribing to the channel.